Welcome, dear friend. As the moon casts a silver glow upon the world outside, I invite you to find your own sanctuary within. Let this be a time of release, a time of quietude. Make yourself completely comfortable, allowing your body to sink into the gentle support of your bed. Let the weight of the day dissolve with each slow, deep breath, in and out. Tonight, we will not journey outward, but inward. We will travel to the quiet river of the mind, that place of stillness that exists within each of us, no matter the turbulence of our outer world. Through timeless Zen stories, we will discover the wisdom of flowing with change, the joy of simplicity, and the strength that comes from yielding. Let the world fade away. Let the gentle rustle of bamboo leaves in the night breeze be the only sound you hear. Your only task now is to rest, to listen, and to allow these ancient teachings to water the seeds of peace within your spirit. Story 1. The River of Impermanence. Learning to Flow with Change. Our first story takes us to a monastery perched on a mountainside, a place known as Seijaku-ji, the Temple of Tranquility. Here, mist hangs low in the valleys each morning, and the world seems to be reborn with every sunrise. In this temple lived an elder monk named Kenji. His face was a map of his long life, etched with the lines of both laughter and deep contemplation. His greatest wisdom, it was said, was not found in ancient scrolls, but in the river that flowed at the bottom of the mountain. One autumn, a young woman named Amaya arrived at the temple. Her heart was heavy with a sorrow she could not release. The previous year had been one of immense joy for her. She had found love, success in her craft as a potter, and a deep sense of belonging in her village. But now, her love had moved to a distant city. A fire had destroyed her kiln, and the vibrant community she cherished felt distant and changed. "Master Kenji," she said, her voice trembling as they sat together overlooking the valley, "I feel as though happiness is a treasure I was allowed to hold for a moment, only to have it snatched away. I spend my days reliving the past and my nights fearing the future. How can I find peace when everything good is swept away by time?" Kenji listened with a deep, patient stillness. When she had finished, he did not offer words of comfort. Instead, he said, "Walk with me, Amaya." He led her down a winding path, through a forest of cedar and maple, until they reached the banks of the roaring mountain river. The water, swollen with autumn rains, tumbled over rocks and rushed through narrow gorges. It was powerful, beautiful, and relentless. "Tell me," Kenji said, his voice calm amidst the river's noise, "which part of this river do you like the best? The calm pool over there? The white rapids here? The deep, slow current further downstream?" Amaya looked, confused. I don't know, Master. They are all just parts of the same river." "Exactly." Kenji nodded. "Now, try to hold on to the water that is passing us right now. Cup your hands and keep it." Amaya knelt and scooped up the icy water, but it slipped through her fingers in an instant. She tried again, but the result was the same. "It's impossible," she said, looking up at the monk. "Life is this river, Amaya," Kenji explained gently. "You are trying to hold on to one moment, one particular passage of water. You are clinging to the memory of the calm pool, and you fear the coming rapids. But it is all the same river. To find peace, you must learn to flow with it, not fight against it." He continued, "The Buddha taught that the root of all suffering is attachment. We suffer not because things change, but because we wish for them to stay the same. We cling to pleasure and we resist pain. But both are simply currents in the river of life. The joy you felt was real and beautiful. Let the memory of it be a smooth, beautiful stone on the riverbed, not a dam you build to stop the flow." He pointed to a large, unmoving boulder in the middle of the current. See how the water smashes against that rock? That is resistance. It is a constant, exhausting battle. Now look at the fallen leaf floating on the surface. It is carried by the current. It dips and swirls. It passes through both calm and turbulent waters. But it is not broken. It is in a state of acceptance. It flows. Amaya watched the leaf as it danced on the water's surface, carried effortlessly downstream. For the first time, she saw not an end, but a journey. The Buddha said, "Everything that has a beginning has an ending. Make your peace with that, and all will be well." Your period of great joy had a beginning, and so it had to have an ending. But this period of sorrow also has a beginning, and it, too, will end. The river will flow on. New pools of calm will appear. New rapids will challenge you. The key is not to grasp or to fear, but to remain present on the journey. As they walked back up the mountain, Amaya felt a subtle shift within her. The heavy weight in her chest had not vanished, but it felt lighter. It was no longer a solid block of grief, but a flowing current of sadness that she could allow to move through her, just like the river. In the years that followed, Amaya rebuilt her kiln. She found new forms of love and community. There were times of great joy and times of profound loss, but she never forgot the lesson of the river. She learned to honor each part of her journey, to find the beauty in the calm and the strength in the rapids. She learned to let go. As you drift now towards sleep, reflect on the river of your own life. Perhaps you are in a calm pool or navigating challenging rapids. Whatever your present moment holds, know that it is temporary. It is one part of a much larger flow. Release your grip. Let go of the need for things to be different than they are. Allow yourself to float on the gentle current of your breath, carried peacefully into the deep ocean of sleep. Story 2. The Unadorned Bowl. Finding Joy in Simplicity. As the moon climbs higher in the night sky, our journey takes us to a small nunnery nestled in a quiet valley, a place known for its practice of mindful living. The head of this community was a wise nun named Etsuko, whose teachings were as simple and profound as the life she led. One day, a wealthy merchant named Ren arrived at the nunnery. Ren was a man who had everything the world valued. His storehouses were filled with silks and spices. His home was a palace of exquisite art, and his name was known in cities far and wide. Yet, an emptiness gnawed at his heart. The more he acquired, the more anxious he became, consumed by the fear of losing it all. He had come to the nunnery seeking a spiritual solution, another valuable thing to acquire that might finally fill the void. He saw the nuns living a life of stark simplicity and, in his mind, poverty. They ate from plain, unadorned clay bowls, wore simple robes, and their temple was made of unpainted wood. "Master Etsuko," he said with an air of generous pity, "your devotion is inspiring. To honor your practice, I wish to make a donation. I will have the finest gilded bowls, carved from precious jade, sent for you and your sisters. You deserve to eat from vessels worthy of your spirit." Etsuko listened with a serene smile. She thanked him for his kind intention, but politely declined his offer. Ren was taken aback. "But why? These bowls are worthless," he said, gesturing to the simple clay bowl in her hands. "Mine are masterpieces. They would bring beauty and honor to your meals." Etsuko looked down at her bowl, cradling it as if it were a treasure. "This bowl is not worthless, Master Ren. It is priceless. It holds the perfect amount of rice for my needs. It is sturdy and warm to the hands. And most importantly," she said, looking directly into his eyes, "it brings me no anxiety." She continued, "If I were to eat from your jade and gold bowl, I would worry. I would worry it might chip. I would worry it might be stolen. I would be distracted by its beauty and its value, forgetting to be grateful for the food it holds. My mind would be on the bowl, not on the nourishment. This simple clay bowl allows me to be fully present with my meal. Its lack of adornment is its greatest gift. It is a vessel for contentment, not for desire." Ren was silent. Her words were a mirror, reflecting his own life back at him. He spent so much time polishing, guarding, and admiring his gilded bowls, his wealth, his reputation, his possessions, that he had forgotten to savor the actual food of his life. "The Buddha taught that the origin of suffering is craving," Etsuko said softly. "We think that if we just get that one more thing, more wealth, more recognition, more beauty, we will finally be happy. But this craving is a thirst that can never be quenched. The more we have, the more we want, and the more we fear losing what we have. It is an endless cycle of dissatisfaction." She invited Ren to join the nuns for their midday meal. He sat awkwardly on a simple cushion, holding the plain clay bowl they gave him. It felt surprisingly grounding in his hands. As he ate the simple meal of rice and pickled vegetables, he focused, for the first time in years, only on the taste and texture of the food. There was nothing to impress, nothing to protect. There was only the present moment and the simple act of receiving nourishment. It was, he realized, the most peaceful meal he had eaten in decades. Ren stayed at the nunnery for a week. He did not seek to acquire spiritual secrets, but to practice the art of simplicity. He swept the temple paths, tended the vegetable garden, and ate his meals in silence from the unadorned bowl. He learned that happiness was not about adding more to his life, but about subtracting the unnecessary desires that clouded his mind. When he returned to his city, he did not sell all his possessions, but his relationship with them changed. He saw them as tools, not as sources of identity. He found more joy in giving his wealth away to those in need than he ever had in hoarding it. He discovered the profound richness of a simple cup of tea, a walk at sunrise, and a conversation with a friend. He had learned that the most valuable things in life are not things at all. As you lie here, enveloped in the quiet of the night, let go of the striving. Let go of the belief that you need something more to be whole. Your breath is your unadorned bowl. It is simple, it is humble, and it holds the very essence of life. It asks for nothing. It is always with you. Rest your attention there. Feel the simple, profound nourishment of each breath, and know that in this present moment, you have everything you truly need. Story 3. The Gnarled Pine. The Strength in Bending. For our final story, we travel to the gardens of an old Zen monastery, where wisdom was taught not only in the meditation hall, but by the silent teachers of nature itself. The monastery's groundskeeper was an old man named Jin, who rarely spoke, but whose every action was a lesson in mindfulness. A young samurai named Kaido was staying at the monastery to temper his spirit. Kaido was strong, disciplined, and fiercely proud. He believed that the path to mastery was through unyielding effort and absolute resistance. He saw life as a series of obstacles to be conquered and broken by sheer force of will. His frustration was growing, however, as his rigid approach to meditation and martial arts was yielding little progress. One afternoon, he watched old Jin tending to the garden. He saw the old man bowing slightly to a gnarled, twisted pine tree that grew near a cliff edge. Kaido scoffed silently. The tree was not mighty and straight like the great oak in the central courtyard. It was bent and crooked, seemingly misshapen by the mountain winds. To Kaito, it looked weak. "Why do you honor such a flawed tree, old man?" Kaito asked, his tone betraying his impatience. The oak is the true symbol of strength." Jin looked up from his work, his eyes holding a quiet amusement. He simply said, "The storm will teach." A few weeks later, a great typhoon swept up the mountainside. The winds howled with a terrifying force, and rain fell in blinding sheets. Everyone stayed inside the sturdy temple walls, listening to the fury of nature. Kaido secretly felt a thrill, imagining the great oak in the courtyard standing firm and defiant against the storm, a testament to its power. When the storm passed the next morning, the sky was washed clean and a serene quiet had fallen. Kaito was the first one out in the courtyard. He stopped dead in his tracks. The mighty oak tree, the one he so admired, had been broken. A massive limb was torn away, and its great trunk was split down the middle, a fatal wound. It had resisted the wind with all its strength, and it had shattered. His heart heavy, he walked to the edge of the garden where the old pine grew. He expected to find it utterly destroyed. Instead, the gnarled tree stood, seemingly unharmed. The ground around it was littered with small twigs and needles, but the tree itself was whole. Its flexible branches had bent with the wind, yielding to its force, and so they had survived. The bamboo grove nearby was the same. Its slender stalks bowed low to the ground, but none of them broken. Jin was already there, calmly sweeping up the fallen needles. He looked at Kaido, and then at the broken oak in the distance. "The oak was strong," Jin said, his voice as soft as the morning mist. "But its strength was rigid. It met force with force. The pine tree's strength is different. It is the strength of yielding. It knows it cannot stop the wind, so it joins with it. It bends, and because it bends, it does not break." He straightened up and looked at the young samurai. "Kaido, you are like the oak. You try to meet every challenge with rigid force. You fight your thoughts in meditation. You strain your muscles in training. You resist the flow of life. This is why you feel you are breaking." Kaito looked at his own clenched fists, the tension that lived constantly in his shoulders. He saw the truth in the old man's words. "The Buddha taught that non-resistance is a form of great power," Jin continued. "True strength is not about being unbreakable, but about being flexible. It is about having roots deep enough to hold you firm, while your branches are soft enough to dance with the wind. Stop fighting. Learn to bend." From that day on, Kaito's practice was transformed. In meditation, when a difficult thought arose, he no longer fought it. He acknowledged it and let it pass like a cloud in the sky. In his martial arts, he learned to blend with his opponent's energy rather than just meeting it with brute force. He discovered a fluid, resilient power within himself he never knew existed. He was becoming less like the oak and more like the gnarled pine. As you settle into the final moments before sleep, let go of your own resistance. Where in your life are you clenched like a fist, fighting against the winds of change? Can you allow yourself to soften? Can you feel the strength in yielding, the power in letting go of control? Feel the tension in your jaw, your shoulders, your hands, and with your next exhale, let it go. Allow your body to be soft, flexible, and at ease. There is nothing to fight, nothing to resist. There is only the gentle rhythm of your breath, a wise and ancient teacher, showing you how to bend with the currents of the night and find deep, restorative peace. As our journey through the Whispering Bamboo Sanctuary comes to a close, let the wisdom of these stories settle into your being like soft rain on fertile ground. We have walked with Amaya and learned from the river that peace is found not in holding on, but in flowing with the ceaseless current of life. We have shared a meal with Ren and discovered in the unadorned bowl that true richness lies in simplicity and contentment. And we have stood with Kaito in the aftermath of the storm. understanding from the gnarled pine that true strength is found in flexibility and acceptance. The Buddha taught that peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. The quiet river of the mind you have touched upon tonight is always available to you. It is the calm center within the storm, the simple bowl within a world of craving, the resilient pine within the winds of change. May your sleep be deep and untroubled. May the quiet river of your mind flow peacefully through the landscape of your dreams. And may you awaken in the morning feeling rested, renewed, and with a gentle spirit ready to greet the new day with the quiet harmony you have cultivated tonight. Peace be with you.